Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game review of our 3-2 victory against Wolverhampton Wanderers at Goodison Park yesterday afternoon. An absolutely fantastic win, an absolutely fantastic result just before the international break. Couldn't ask for much more from the Blues yesterday. I thought we were absolutely fantastic. Obviously, there was a couple of defensive mistakes that led to the 2 goals, but overall, I think it was a really positive performance. Fantastic attacking performances by the likes of Richarlison, Alex Iwobi, Dominic Calvert-Lewin when he come on. I thought done really well. Midfield was really solid. For Fabian Delph was man of the match in my opinion. Andre Gomes as well done what he needed to do, and then of course other than this couple of mistakes, I thought defensively we done quite well as well. We kept out what we needed to, other than obviously the 2 goals. But like I said, a massive win. Like I said in the instant match reaction yesterday, and we spoke about it before the game, this was always going to be a massive game for Everton Football Club. It was always going to be one of those games that we could sit back and look at the end of the season and think that was a massive 3 points. Obviously, Wolves are the team that, for me are going to be the team that are most likely challenging us towards the back end of the season for the, the top 7th place or even fighting for the top 6. So it was really important that we got the 3 points yesterday, and not only that, but also the teams that are around us. Obviously it's only early on in the season, so it's very hard to judge and to talk about this stuff yet. But, when you just look at the teams that are around us and the teams that, we set out at the start of the season to be aiming to, be overtaken and to be taken over, likes of Chelsea, Manchester United, all dropped points yesterday. So this was a big opportunity for us again. Not only to gain a little bit of an advantage early on in the season, but also to get a big 3 points against the side that, we could be coming up head to head against at the end of the season. And that's exactly what we done. Listen, like we spoke about before the game, it was massively important that the Lincoln game obviously was last week. Obviously it gave the lads the opportunity to play a game against a weaker opposition, get the confidence back up, score a few goals as well, because I honestly think with the struggle they would have gone into this game off the back of the Villa performance, but we didn't. We went in off the back of a really dominant performance against Lincoln. Really big win, and we got another really big win yesterday. And you know what, there was a couple of negatives obviously with the goals, but let's just forget about them because we've gone and picked up a massive 3 points, just before the international break, and now the start of the season is looking a lot more positive. Obviously it was looking positive anyway. We had the Villa defeat, it then went down a little bit, and now it's looking much more positive. Obviously we've played Crystal Palace, which away from home got a draw against them, which isn't the worst result considering the circumstances. Obviously playing a large part of the second half with 10 men. We've beaten Watford at home, again another side that were in and around our position last season. Don't get me wrong, I don't think they'll be there this season. However, last season were one of the teams that we were fighting with to finish in them top 7-8 places. Obviously we've played Aston Villa, which was a little bit of a disaster, but if we forget about that one and chalk that one off, we've beaten Wolves at home, we've beaten Lincoln in the cup emphatically as well. So for me, it's been a really decent start to the season, and like I said, that was exactly what we needed going into this international break. We've got 2 weeks off now. The players have got 2 weeks away from Everton to go and play with their international teams, or to rest up if they're not going away with their international teams. And for me, it was a perfect way to end the first sort of part of the season for me. Obviously, some positive news as well with Jean-Philippe Gbamin. It'll be 2 weeks for Jean-Philippe Gbamin to obviously regain fitness, and that'll mean he'll be about 3 to 4 weeks down the line by the time we come to play Bournemouth in a couple of weeks' time, and that's pretty much halfway through his injury. So that's positive to look at as well. But in terms of yesterday's game, like I said, for me, a really good performance. Let's dive into live comments and see what you guys are saying. Alex says, yes, Cam. Yes, Alex, hope you are doing well. Everton FC is the best. Says, yes, Blues, what's happening? Everton FC is the best. Hope you're doing well. He also says, amazing match. I was there to see the magic. Oh, Alex Iwobi, he's Brazilian. He only cost 50 million, and we think he's fucking brilliant. We do. And what a performance by Richarlison yesterday, by the way. Again, like I said in the instant match reaction, Richarlison has proven for me that he is a game winner. He wins games of football. He can be in the right place at the right time. And you know what? There was a couple of times yesterday where, he was caught in possession, or he was trying to do a little bit too much. And I think we all have to sit here and we all have to admit that you're just going to have to put up with that with Richarlison. You're going to have to put up with him trying to take a player on twice. You're going to have to put up with him losing the ball on the wing because he's trying to do something a little bit clever. You're going to have to put up with that. And in what's the word I'm looking for? Whilst we putting up with that, we're also getting a natural born goal scorer who's constantly in the right place at the right time. You've seen it twice yesterday, obviously. For the first goal, he was there where he needed to be, exactly when he needed to be to put it in the back of the net. And the winner as well is an absolutely unbelievable header. And you've seen against Lincoln midweek as well, he was in the right place at the right time for that header. So we're just going to have to put up with Richarlison being a little bit frustrating at times in games of football, because he wins us games of football at the end of the day, and I've got absolutely no problem with putting up with him running into a winger or losing the ball and, in the middle of the pitch. If it means that he's going to go on 20 minutes later and score the winner with an absolutely fantastic header, then you forget about the performance prior to that, because Richarlison put 2 in the back of the net yesterday, and was a man of the match contender, despite, for me, not having his best game in an Everton shirt, and could have got a hat-trick as well. Really, really good save by Rui Patricio towards the end, denied him of a hat-trick. So again, like you said, he's proven for me that he's a game winner, and he needs to be in this team every single time we play. No matter who we're playing, when we're playing, Richarlison needs to be in that starting 11 if he's fit, and he obviously hasn't got a suspension or an injury. He needs to be there because he has got that natural instinct of a goal scorer, and he knows where to be and when to be there, and we haven't got enough of that in this squad at the minute. We haven't got enough players that can do that. Moise Keane will come along, obviously, as fitness gets, as his fitness improves, and obviously he starts to settle into the club a little bit. Didn't have his best game yesterday, but again, thought he was marked out of the game a little bit, but that's going to happen. We're going to have to deal with that as well. He's going to get marked out of some games of football. Other games he's going to rip teams to absolute bits, but like I said, we haven't got many players in this squad that can be in that right place at the right time, and Richarlison's proved it time and time again that he can be that player. So another really, really good performance by him. Everton FC is the best. Also says Richarlison slipped up a few times, but he done a good job. Exactly. And like I said, we're going to have to put up with them frustrating elements of his game, and him throwing himself on the floor a little bit, and maybe running into trouble, because at the end of the day, if he's scoring goals consistently and he's winning us games of football, then I really don't mind him running into defenders on the halfway line when there's no danger at all. Jeff says, alright Cam, great win for us, Richarlison, Delph, Iwobi. I'm on the way to work, so I'll only be able to listen from now, but really happy to see us play with some such wave and swagger. Yeah, 100%, mate. Listen, absolutely fantastic by the 3 players you've just mentioned there. For me, Delph was my man of the match, like we said. Richarlison getting the 2 goals that realistically won us the game of football. And Iwobi at the end of the day yesterday, listen, 2 goals in 2 for Alex Iwobi, 2 starts in 2. I think, again, it's proven that you shouldn't really listen to opposition fans. You shouldn't really listen to Arsenal fans saying that he doesn't score enough or he doesn't contribute enough, because at the end of the day, I thought he was absolutely fantastic yesterday. Not only his goal, but his overall play as well, taking the ball down, running at the opposition, and it's very clear that it's not a coincidence that since Alex Iwobi's come into this team, we've scored more goals. Since Alex Iwobi's come into this team, we've looked more threatening going forward. Gylfi Sigurdsson's looked better going forward, and that's because Gylfi Sigurdsson, Luca Dean, players like that have now got somebody that'll be on the end of those crosses consistently. Alex Iwobi, again, is another player that is find himself in the right place at the right time. He done it on Wednesday night against Lincoln, and he done it yesterday against Wolves. And for me, it's proven to be an absolutely fantastic signing, and I just hope he can keep this up now, keep the confidence up, and carry on playing how he's playing. Everton FC is the best, says Delphi was amazing up the Everton Toffees. He certainly was. Ian says, how do? Great win yesterday, really good game. Yes, spot on, Ian, really, really was. Alex says, Richarlison not even in Shearer's team of the week. What can you say? Hey, listen, it's media bias, and it don't even let me go into talking about the media today, because obviously you've seen that gobshite Graham Souness on Sky yesterday. I don't even want to think about him because he's an absolute dickhead. Not only him, like I said, but Alan Shearer not putting Richarlison in his team of the week. They just don't like us, do they? But to be honest with you, if we keep winning games of football matches, I don't really give a fuck what the media say. Did you see it on Match of the Day yesterday? It wasn't Everton played really, really well, or Everton got the better of Wolves because they were the better team on the day. It was, oh, Wolves were really, really poor. Do us a favour and fuck off, mate. They can't even hide their bias anymore. It's becoming laughable. The same with referees. Anthony Taylor's refereeing performance yesterday was laughable. Nothing other than laughable and embarrassing. But the media can't hide it anymore, so I don't even pay attention to them. Everton FC is the best as he was frustrating. Sometimes he got the ball and stood still with it, but except for those moments, he is just always on it. Exactly, we're going to have to accept that. We're going to have to accept that that'll happen at times, because at the end of the day, like I said, if he's putting the ball in the back of the net and he's winning us football matches, I don't mind. I'm having a little bit of a frustrating game, because at the end of the day, he won us that game yesterday, and that header is absolutely unbelievable. That awareness and ability to be in that place at that time is that of a world-class striker and that of a world-class finisher, and the header itself, the technique behind it, again, is that of a world-class striker. So he can have his frustrating moments for all I care. If he's winning us games of football matches, we're just going to have to put up with that. Seamus Nolan says, hey, what do you think of Sidibe? I thought he struggled a little bit on Wednesday night, don't get me wrong, obviously he's new to the team, he's new to the system. It was his debut, of course, away from home against the side that, were always going to give us a decent game of football in Lincoln. I think once he settles into the system, once he gets a couple of more games under his belt, then we can really make a judgment on him. But at the minute, he's probably not going to get in over Seamus Coleman, because let's be honest, Seamus isn't doing much wrong at the minute. Defensively, okay, at times he's been a little bit shaky this season, but at the minute, for me, it'll be Seamus, and it'll stay Seamus until anything drastic changes. Blue Blood Fan TV says, please accept our comments that aren't showing. I'm not accepting them, mate. Usually when it says redacted, it means you've deleted them. I haven't deleted them. I haven't asked anybody to remove them, so I'm not too sure what's going on there. If you pop them back in, then hopefully I'll be able to catch them before they go. And he says, GM, alright mate, hope you are doing well. Everton FC is the best, says Anthony Taylor's an effing joke. I'm ashamed to have the name Anthony, and even more ashamed to have the last name Robertson because of that little shit player. Come on now. We won yesterday. Let's not get too worried about them lot over the road or dickhead referees. Ewan says, what did Graham Souness say? So basically he was trying to play off that the reason Moise Kean left Juventus is because he's got an attitude problem, and why would they want to sell a 19-year-old player if he hasn't got an attitude problem? Listen, I'm not going to go into what I think it is, because it's not really my place to say, but it's very, very clear that Graham Souness is, let's just say, a bad dickhead, and he's proven that time and time again. It couldn't have just been Moise Kean wanting to play in a different league. It couldn't have been him wanting to, obviously move his career forward because he wasn't getting much game time at Juventus. It couldn't be the fact that Juventus were trying to sell pretty much every single one of the strikers in the summer, including Dybala, including Mandzukic as well. It had to be because he's got an attitude problem, which just shows how uneducated and how much of a dickhead Graham Souness is. Alex says, spot on, presenter said to Genius, how good was Everton's delivery? Then Genius carried on talking about how poor Wolves were at defending, crossing. Exactly. They're just all the same, mate. Chris says, hi guys, well done, you win. Thank you very much, Chris. Blue Blood says, the football fans at the end, thank you for getting involved, and welcome. Seamus says, in January we need to get rid of Deadwood, Davis and more. I dare say we will get rid of some Deadwood. We'll probably get rid of some before January as well. Obviously it's the transfer deadline day for European clubs today, I believe. Obviously Yannick Bolassi's been linked with a move away from the club over the last couple of days. So has Umanias, Kuko Martina. But I dare say if these players don't leave by the end of the day, we'll be looking at selling them and moving them on in January. I don't think Davis will be on the list, but there'll definitely be some players that'll leave the club, I think. Blue Blood says, got a new channel here because of copyright issues. Oh, fair enough. I did watch the video. Absolutely awful stuff. Obviously, no clue what YouTube's playing at, but hopefully the new channel is as successful as the Football Fan Chat. James says, what a cop-out. Exactly. Blue Blood says, could you give us a little push for people to sub? Football Fan Chat is our second channel now. Yeah, if you're a Chelsea fan or you're a fan of just general football, go and sub to Blue Blood Fan TV. The Football Fan Chat's a really, really decent channel. So yeah, if you're a fan of football, go over and sub to those two channels. And Chris says, can Richarlison become a striker or stick to his position as a winger? Really, really interesting question. Listen, Richarlison played as a striker at points last season, and he done well, but the general consensus was that he was better as a winger. I think he probably could play as a striker. He's got that natural, like I said, goal scoring ability, that natural knowing where to be at the right time, but he finds himself drifting off to the wing, ironically, when he's playing up front. And I think if he plays on the wing, it gives us a player that, again, is a winger that can cut inside, that can create problems for the opposition, and it also allows us to play in number 9 there as well. Whereas if we play him as a centre forward, we haven't really got much competition on the right hand side. Obviously you've got Theo Walcott there, whether Moise Kean could play on the right, I'm not too sure, or Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but I dare say probably the option for now is to keep Richarlison on the right and play Moise Kean through the middle, or Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Football Fan says, thanks man, no problem at all. And James says, what stand do you sit in? I sit in the park end, mate. I sit in the park end. Let me just tweet today's team out before we go any further, and then we're going to dissect the game in its detail. If you're not enjoying today's stream, by the way, please do hit that like button. I've just noticed as well, we're just 8 subscribers away from 800 as well. So if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. If you know anybody that'll be interested in the channel, know any Everton fans, any friends, any family, your cat, your dog, whoever, share the video, share the channel to them as well, because we are so close to hitting that, and so close to hitting 850 on Twitter, I believe, as well. So if you haven't followed us on Twitter, please do go over and follow us. It's at Mighty Blues YT. Wayne says, are the lack of goals from centre mid going to cost us? Can't see Delph or Gomez getting many. I don't know, mate, to be honest. Obviously, like, we've scored 7 goals in the last 2 games. Granted, one of the games was against Lincoln City, which is fair enough. But again, 7 goals in the last 2 games is a decent sort of, is a decent return. And, you know, obviously none of them have come from the midfield directly, other than, you know, other than Gylfi Sigurdsson's penalty, but let's class him as one of the forwards. So, you know, I don't know. I suppose that's only, you know, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see whether that is the case. You know, like you said, Delph isn't a natural goal scorer, and neither was Andre Gomez, as shown last season. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see if the strikers are scoring consistently. If you've got Richarlison scoring 1 or 2 a game, Moise Keane will get involved at times, Bernard, like I said, Alex Iwobi as well, then, you know, hopefully we don't need the midfield too. But realistically, any team that are pushing for European football and pushing for the top 6 will need the midfielders to chip in with at least 5 or 6 goals a season each. So hopefully, you know, like I said, we're only 4 or 5 games in, so hopefully we see Delph and Gomez get on the score sheet more often. Seamus says, did you see Thiago Mendes' rumour for Everton looked decent? Like also just subbed. I haven't seen it, mate. I'll have to look into that when I finish the team, and thank you very much for subbing. Chris says Everton could finish top 4 the way United and Chelsea are going. Arsenal and Tottenham are vulnerable too. Yeah, I'm not going to look at Tottenham because I think they're a level ahead, but definitely Chelsea and Manchester United are looking very, very vulnerable this season. Arsenal as well, defensively, are absolutely shite. So, you know, if we keep up the good form, then who knows where we'll be at the end of the season. But like I said, with there's only a couple of games in, it's important that we don't get too ahead of ourselves. But that was a really, really big and a really, really important win yesterday, and it's important that we sit here and we realise that, because that could be a game at the end of the season that we look at and go, that was a massive 3 points. And Stoll says, you know what's great is the fact that we have actual options now, whether Iwobi starts and Bernard comes on or the other way around. Even Calvert-Lewin is a good option off the bench now. Yeah, spot on, mate. We're going to talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin in a little bit. And obviously Bernard off the bench and Iwobi as well. Yeah, absolutely. Depending on which one of those plays, you've got the other that can come off and be an impact sub. And Iwobi's proven he can come on and be a really, really good impact sub. And Bernard's proven that he can come on and do the business as well. I thought he'd done well yesterday. But anyway, let's dive straight into the game, obviously. So Marco Silva went with the same starting 11 as we predicted in the game preview. A lot of Evertonians predicting that starting 11. Obviously, Fabian Delph and Andre Gomez playing in the centre of midfield. The defence reverting back to the usual: Luca Dean, Yerry Mina, Michael Keane and Seamus Coleman. And then Gylfi Sigurdsson in the 10 in the forward line of Alex Iwobi, Moise Keane and Richarlison. A starting 11 that we all think sat there at, you know, 1 o'clock yesterday when it was released and thought, you know what, that's an absolutely boss team. A lot of people on Twitter even saying that it was, you know, the best team we could have possibly fielded. You know, I wouldn't disagree, to be honest with you. I think it was really, really exciting, and we've shown that, obviously, as the game kicked off. 3 goals in 12 minutes, of course. Everton going 1-0 up very, very early on with a fantastic ball across. It was actually a defensive mistake from Wolves. A little bit of defensive error between Rui Patricio and Conor Cody, I believe it was. It comes across via Moise Keane, and Richarlison puts in a really, really good finish. A finish that the ball's bouncing, he does really, really well to keep it down, and he gets it in the back of the net. And obviously you're 1-0 up really early on into the game, and you're thinking, happy days, let's go on now and add to this, and let's not make any silly defensive errors. Having said that, we are Everton Football Club. Obviously, a little bit of time later, a couple of minutes later, Wolves go up the other end. Again, another defensive situation which we've seen against Lincoln on Wednesday, where players are being left on their own in the box, and we need to cut that out ASAP, because we've spoke about, obviously, this season how we've been really, really good defensively and how we've been really, really strong, and I do think that genuinely, as a whole, defensively, we've been quite positive this season. However, there's been a couple of times, certainly over the last couple of games, the Lincoln game and yesterday, where we've been caught out letting players just roam free in the penalty area and not marking up players. Now, I don't know whether that's zonal marking, I don't know whether that's man to marking, I don't know who is at fault for that, but, you know, you've seen it with the second goal yesterday as well. The first goal, he was left on his own, and it was a pretty, you know, simple finish. He put it in the back of the net, and I think we need to really iron that out. Marco Silva and the defensive coaches need to look at that at Finch Farm and need to say, listen, you can't be having opposition players running onto the ball in our box with, you know, a clean strike on goal, really, because there's not much the likes of Jordan Pickford can do once a player's hit it, you know, with some force off the end of the boot from 15 yards out, because nobody's picked them up. We've seen that against Lincoln with that wonder goal, and we've seen it against Wolves, obviously, yesterday. So it goes to 1-1. You're sitting there and you're thinking, there you go, back to usual now, 0-0, start again. Obviously then, you know, it's still really, really positive, still creating opportunities, still really, really pushing. And I think this was something that we spoke about against Lincoln. It's really, really positive to see that even when we're conceding goals, even when, you know, teams are pulling it back, we're not giving up, we're not letting our head stop, we're knowing that, okay, well, we've been the better side here, so we're going to continue to push, we didn't only win that game by, scoring more goals than Wolves did, but at the end of the day, that is football, and that's how you win games of football, but we dominated them in every single part of the game. We had more possession, more shots, we really, really did dominate, and if it wasn't for a couple of defensive mistakes, the scoreline would have, been a lot more positive for Everton Football Club, but obviously, like I said, Wolves go up the other end, and they pull one back. Then obviously ball comes in, absolutely fantastic ball by Gylfi Sigurdsson, unbelievable cross, and who is on the end of it? None other than big Alex Iwobi. What a tune, by the way. Why didn't we sing that? Why didn't we? It seems to be, oh, Alex Iwobi, which I half like that as well, to be honest with you, but I do like that Alex Iwobi one. I think that's a little bit better. But yeah, Alex Iwobi on the end of it. An unbelievable cross by Gylfi Sigurdsson to pick him out. And a fantastic header by Alex Iwobi. Listen, I've watched this numerous times because, I seen it quite quickly. Obviously, I was sitting in the park and it was right in front of me and it seemed like it just happened within a split second. So I watched it back a couple of times on the replay, and it's an unbelievable header to get his header away from there. It's even a little bit behind him and he manages to steer it into the goal. And granted, Rupert Isio gets a touch, but he's never going to keep that out. No goalkeeper to keep that out. It was hit with so much force. And again, Alex Iwobi is on the score sheet for the second time in only his second start for Everton, and again, it's another header where we've seen him in the right place at the right time. Now listen, overall, Alex Iwobi's game was unbelievable yesterday. I thought he worked his bollocks off. Every time he got the ball, he was looking for a teammate. He was looking to try and play it off. He was never greedy. But I think for me, the most important thing is that we're looking at with Alex Iwobi is that he's a player that knows where to be when a ball's coming in, and not only that, is he's got unbelievable heading ability. The kid can header a ball, and we seen that yesterday. How many times have we had crosses go in over the last couple of weeks and players be on the end of headers? Richarlison, a couple against Palace, a couple against Watford as well, where he doesn't get them on target despite the fact that he's been putting headers away like it's Christmas now. Michael Keane as well, Yerry Mina one yesterday where he's very unlucky. Alex Iwobi seems to know exactly how to put the ball in the back of the net with his head, and he done that again yesterday. It's an absolutely unbelievable header, and all of a sudden we're sitting there with 12 minutes in and it's 2-1, and you're thinking these bastards at Sky are going to be absolutely creaming themselves over this because it's a boss game for the neutral and all that shit. But listen, at the end of the day, we were 2-1 up, and it was really, really important that we went out there then and we tried to keep that lead and not go on and concede another goal. Obviously, we continued to create opportunities, we continued to dominate the game. Wolves, for me, yesterday, they didn't really threaten us an awful lot. They relied a lot on long balls, they relied a lot on throw-ins, and I was a little bit shocked with that because, Wolves are the team that you'd expect to come and play really, really nice, neat football, passing it around. Obviously, they've got some really, really good technical footballers, but they didn't quite do that yesterday. I'm not too sure what was going on with them. I'm not too sure whether it was fatigue because of the Europa League game in midweek, but they didn't quite do that. They were trying to sort of force a ball over the top or get a goal via a long throw, and that's what they ended up doing with the second one. But I'm not too sure what was going on with Wolves yesterday. It wasn't a typical Wolves performance. I overheard some Wolves fans on the way home from the game, and they said that it was the worst performance they'd seen in quite some time from a Wolves team. So obviously that was really, really interesting. But anyway, we go in 2-1 at half time, and you're thinking, right, positive now. Let's not make another defensive mistake. Let's keep it tight defensively, and let's continue to push and try and create more opportunities and try and put the ball in the back of the net. And this is something that I've really picked up on over the last two games, specifically the Lincoln game and the Wolves game, is that we now are not only creating a lot of opportunities, but we're being clinical. And don't get me wrong, we didn't create a massive plethora of opportunities yesterday or against Lincoln, but we're being clinical with those, and that's what we need to be. I'd rather create 5 opportunities and score 3 of them than create 50 and score 2. We need to be clinical with our chances, and that's what we done yesterday. Every single sort of big opportunity we had was either very, very close or at the back of the net, and that's exactly what we done. Now listen, obviously the defensive errors and the defensive mistakes need to be ironed out and need to be looked at. Obviously, like I said, we go in 2-1 at half time, we come out again with pushing, and Wolves get one sort of 10 minutes before the end, and it's another long ball into the box, and a player that's not picked up at all. He's left alone. Now a couple of people jumping on Luca Dean for this. Listen, Luca Dean didn't have his best game yesterday defensively. He was caught out a couple of times. He was caught out for the first goal as well. He got far too close to Traore, I think it was, and he just took it round him quite easily, pulled the ball in the back of the box. And again, despite the fact that a lot of people are saying, it's Luca Dean's fault for the goal, I still think that, between the ball leaving Traore's feet after he's taken Luca Dean on and being in the back of the net. There was, 4 or 5 defenders in that box that could have picked up the man that puts it in the back of the net, but he didn't. But anyway, I think the second one's a little bit more obvious. Ball comes in, long throw in, and he's left on his own. He's only just come on the pitch. I think was it Jota or Jimenez? I think it was Jimenez. Only just come on the pitch, and he puts it in the back of the net. Hurts himself in the process, and it's 2-2. And all of a sudden you're thinking, well, we've got 15-20 minutes to go with this game. It's now 2-2. Are we going to be able to pick ourselves up like we did at midweek against Lincoln? Are we going to be able to stand there and go, you know what, we've been the better team today, so we're going to go out there and we're going to get the winner and we're going to get the third? And that's exactly what we've done. Obviously, very, very shortly before the end of the game, Luca Dean puts an unbelievable ball in. Now, listen, he was caught out defensively a couple of times yesterday, and that was because he had a one-off poor game. And he did have a one-off poor game. Players have them. Luca Dean's going to have them. Gylfi Sigurdsson will have them. Richarlison will have them. He had a one-off poor game. But again, he still provided the game-winning assist. And what an assist it was. A fantastic ball into the box. And Richarlison with a real poacher's goal. A Tim Cahill-esque goal. Coming in from behind. Defender has no clue where he is. And he puts it into the back of the net. And, it's 3-2. And all of a sudden you're thinking, surely we can cock this up from this position, and then we go on to defend the game out and get the 3 points. An unbelievable performance and an unbelievable header by Richarlison. Again, like I said, 2 really important goals, proving that he is a game winner. And at the end of the day, like I said, we come away with 3 points, and it's a massive 3 points in a massive game. I said before the game, I don't know whether I said it in the game preview or I just said it in the pub before, but this had the potential to be one of our biggest games of the season in terms of when we look back on it at the end of the season. We could be looking at this going, you know what, that was a massive 3 points, or alternatively, if we'd have lost, we could have been looking at it going, you know what, that was a game that we really should have won, and if we'd have won that, we'd have been here. The usual talk that you talk about to the end of the season. So it was a really big 3 points for me. Obviously, we had Wilfred Willy Bolly, as they like to call him, strangely. They had Wilfred Bolly getting sent off. For me, it was a blatant sending off. Again, it falls under the bracket of Anthony Taylor being absolutely shit at his job. He should have been sent off 15 to 20 minutes before it for a yellow card tackle on Moise Kean. That seen Moise Kean's boot get left behind. He wasn't. He was given another warning by Anthony Taylor. Listen, I don't want to sit here and talk negatively, and I don't want to sit here and talk about referees, but they are all shite, aren't they? And, this VAR, it's only as good as the people that are sat behind it, and the people that are looking at the replays, and the people that are, checking, obviously, the situations. And if they're not doing it properly, then this VAR is going to get all the blame, and that's exactly what the FA want, and that's exactly what referees want. They want fans to sit there and go, this VAR shit. Well, it's not really, because the VAR is just a computer. VAR is just a video that shows a load of dickheads that don't know what they're doing, what the situation was, replays the situation to them. If they then turn around and go, nah, not a free kick, not a penalty, that's offside, then it's the dickheads that are making that decision, aren't they? If we can clearly see it at home, why can't the professionals that are getting paid, hundreds of thousands of pounds or thousands of pounds, whatever they're getting paid, good money to to be able to see it, why can't they see it if we can see it at home? But yeah, like I said, Anthony Taylor had a shocker yesterday in terms of obviously his performance, but did eventually send Wilfred Bolly off for a blatant second yellow card, although we should have had one 10 minutes earlier. And I think, obviously that sort of settled the game for Wolves. Then that told Wolves that they were only going to be able to fight for a point at that situation. And again, a little bit similar to our point against Crystal Palace at the start of the season. Once you go down to 10 men away from home, it's really hard to then be able to push for a winner, because you're vulnerable at the back, especially if it's one of your centre halves. You're going to be vulnerable on the break if you try and push for that goal. We could have got another couple, to be honest with you. And obviously Richarlison going for his hat-trick, getting a little bit more confidence as the game went on. Obviously after he got that second goal, the winner in the end, it obviously gained a lot of confidence. Did successfully take a Wolves defender on, cut inside and put a really good shot in. Decent save by Rui Patricio, goes out for the corner, and I think it was that corner that Yerry Mina has a really decent header, and it's a world class save by Rui Patricio. To give him his credit, it's an absolutely world class save to stop it going 4-2, and that would have really been the end of the game. But again, like I said, it's really positive to see that. It's really positive to see that we went to 2-2. It went to 2-2 with 10 minutes to go. A little bit like it did against Lincoln. Obviously, there was a little bit more time against Lincoln, but it went to 2-2 and we didn't let our heads stop. We went, you know what, we've been the better team here, so we're gonna go out and get the winner. And not only did we go out and get the winner, we continued to push. We didn't get the third goal and then go, right, everyone behind the ball, let's just defend this victory. we got the third goal and went, well, no, we want a fourth, we want a fifth, we want to continue, we want to keep scoring more goals, and that's so positive to see. And that for me is one of the biggest indications to say that we've moved forward from last season. Obviously, the very clear indication is the fact that we got absolutely obliterated by Wolves at Goodison Park last season, and we've beaten them and battered them this season. But again, one of the other things for me is the fact that we're not giving up, we're not letting our heads stop, we're not feeling sorry for ourselves in a way. I've seen Everton too many times, not just under Marco Silva, but under previous managers, the game will go to 2-2 with 5 or 10 minutes to go, or, you know, we'll concede with 5 or 10 minutes to go, and you'll just let your head drop, and you'll instantly know as a fan, that's it, game's over, we're not getting back into this. But over the last couple of games, and I know it's only a couple of games, and I know it's very, very early to judge, but we've seemed to be just getting on with it and thinking, well, you know what, we've been the better side, so we're going to go out there and we're going to get the win. If anyone's going to win this game, it's going to be us. And for me, that's so positive to obviously to see as an Evertonian. If you're not enjoying today's team so far, please do leave a like. It'll mean a massive amount to me. If you haven't already as well, please do subscribe. It's so close to 800 subscribers now. Let me get back involved in the live comments. James says, did you hear about Howard Webb saying that being linesman along the Bullens Road end towards the Gladys Seat is the most intimidating place to linesman? Yeah, it is, but to be honest with you, mate, if you do your job properly, then, you know, the fans can only scream at poor decisions. Howard Webb couldn't linesman that line, or, you know, couldn't referee at Goodison Park because he was fucking shite. That's the reason. If these officials are doing the job properly, then yeah, you'll get the odd moan, you'll get the odd groan, obviously by any fan, but the fans will then go back, watch it on Match of the Day and go, actually, he got that right, actually, that's probably a right decision. But the consistent level of poor, that doesn't make sense, the consistent shocking level of refereeing in this league is the reason as to why fans are getting on the back of these referees, and that's probably as to why Howard Webb found it very intimidating at Goodison Park. Seamus said, with all the new ground stuff, do you reckon that we could sign players in January or not? Well, Marcel Brands often has come out and said that he doesn't like to do business in the January transfer market for multiple reasons. Obviously, one of them, I dare say, is the fact that players' prices are heightened because it's halfway through the season. Players are, you know, much more valuable to clubs, obviously. So Marcel Brands has often come out, not just as Everton director of football, but when he was at Ajax, and said, Ajax, PSV, when he was there and said that, you know, he doesn't like to do business in January. So if we're that desperate for a player, I could see us bringing somebody in, for example, a centre-half, if we're really desperate for a centre-half. However, I don't think we'll bring players in for the sake of bringing players in. Everton FC is the best, as I'm glad Marco picked that starting 11, but our defence needs to be worked on a lot. We definitely need to work on that stupid, you know, the stupid goals that we seem to be conceding at the minute, you know, letting players sort of run free on their own in the penalty area. Chris says, Delph looks like the perfect replacement for Gay and brings that leadership and winning mentality just in case you go in a cut room, which I expect you to do. Delph, you know, obviously he's come in. Marco Silva was very clear in saying that he wasn't a replacement for the Disagana Gay. I do see where you're coming from, though. Fabian Delph yesterday, for me, was absolutely unbelievable. His performance was second to none, and for me, he deserved man of the match. I know, obviously, Richarlison got 2 goals and ended up being the game winner in the end, and that's fair enough. There's an argument for that as well. But for me, Fabian Delph was unbelievable. You seen him before the ball had even been kicked, before the first whistle had even been blown. Fabian Delph was screaming at players, he was talking to players, he was saying, you get there, you get on your mark, and he was commanding. And that's exactly what we need at Everton Football Club. We need a player that commands, we need a player that demands, and we need a player that leads. And Fabian Delph, like you've just said there, Chris, is a natural born leader. And that's exactly what we needed at Everton Football Club. We've got too many players that keep their mouth shut and don't want to get involved. Whereas Fabian Delph, you've seen against Lincoln and you've seen yesterday against Wolves, he's a natural born leader. And he not only leads with his mouth, but he leads with his performance as well. He was fantastic yesterday. Absolutely fantastic. Every time he was getting the ball, you could see he was using his experience and he was using his professionalism to know what to do with it. And I 100% agree. 100% agree, Chris. He is going to play a really important role in our team going forward, especially this season. Everton FC's the best. As if you ever been to a Liverpool match, Chris? And Chris says, I'm a season ticket holder, mate, and go to away games too. Fair enough, really good. Chris, Seamus says, Chris, you could have led us to a trophy. Eugene says, Everton will win the League Cup this season, hopefully. Seamus says, do you support Liverpool, Chris? And Chris says, yes, sorry to disappoint. Hey, he's a good lad, Chris. Everton FC is the best, says Alexander Arnold is so overrated. I think he's a decent player. Personally, I think he's a decent player. Joe says, I do definitely think we're in with a shout of winning one of the cups this season. And hopefully, if we keep going the way we're going, if Marco Silva continues with his ethos of playing a really, really strong team in these cup games, just, regardless of which side you're playing, then I think we've got a really, really good opportunity. Benjamin says he's not. Lavivid says, due to the positivity generated by Silva, you always feel we can get a goal. I would like Dini to pay more attention to his defensive responsibilities, but his forward thinking is awesome. Yeah, he was called out a couple of times yesterday, and again, I think Luca Dean's really, really good defensively. I had a comment on my instant match reaction saying, oh, this is the lad that said Luca Dean's the best defender, the best left back in the Premier League, and he's just being skinned twice and he gets skinned every game. Well, he doesn't get skinned every game, does he? He's had one bad game defensively there, and he still managed to get the game-winning assist up forward. And I know we're talking defensively here, but he doesn't get skinned every game, does he? He's had one poor game there where he's let his defensive responsibilities drop, like you've said there, Lavivid. He will improve on that, and he won't have many more of them this season, trust me. But you're spot on. He does need to focus a little bit more on that. But his forward thinking is second to none, isn't it? Seamus says, Chris, okay, mate. Eugene says Everton will be in the Europa League next season. Hopefully, mate. Hopefully we're in the Europa League by finishing 6th and not finishing 7th, because I really, ideally, don't want to be playing competitive football in July and having to go through the qualifiers and all that stuff, because we've seen the knock-on effect that it's had on Everton before, we've seen the knock-on effect that it had on Burnley, and we might be seeing the knock-on effect that it's having on Wolves this season as well. Lavivid says, in addition, if we won every game 6-5, I would not complain. The methodology under Silva, Keegan-esque. Yeah, listen, as long as we score more goals than the opposition, we win games of football, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Like I said, if we're clinical with our chances, if we're clinical with the opportunities we're creating, we will score goals and we'll win games, and that's all that matters. And what we were on yesterday afternoon and what we were on Wednesday night, we were clinical, and we won both games of football quite comfortably as well. Evan FC is the best says, he is, people say he's so great, but when he's a little kid, who hardly scores any goals, and he's like, maybe there. Behind when they played in the Charity Cup, he cheeky nutmegged City player. I'm not going to get into an argument about Alexander-Arnold. I personally think he's an alright player, but it's not about him anyway. He's a cop-out, and we're talking about the Mighty Blues. Where are we? Eugene says, do you think Everton will be in Europe next season? I hope so. I'm going to say I do think it, because I think we can continue the way we're going. And again, as well as the way we're performing, I think the teams around us are struggling as well. Chris says, I don't know how referees can say that they get a number one referee. As you say, they're all rubbish. Foreign referees are well better. Yeah, I think if they introduced foreign referees to the Premier League, I think it would obviously, I think it'd be beneficial, because again, you'd have your referees there that don't really know the teams that they're refereeing, or can't really get intimidated by the teams or by certain players or by certain members of the background staff. So we'll just referee it as they know to referee it. Whereas I do think the referee standard in this league at the minute is absolutely shocking. Wayne says, I think Richarlison, Pickford and Dean would get in any team in the Prem. Thoughts? I think Richarlison would. Maybe City, you'd have an argument. And I think Dean would, and Pickford again, maybe City, maybe them lot, you'd have an argument. But pretty much most of the teams in the Premier League, yeah. Maybe United as well, because obviously David De Gea, although he hasn't been playing well recently. Jeff says, spot on, Cam, but we need sensible defenders in January. End of is a must. And he also says, Chris, good lad, he's a cop by Cam. Get a grip. I know he's a Liverpool fan, but come on, he's all right. He's in here, and he's contributing and he's being respectful. He's a good lad, Chris. He is a good lad. Big up to Chris and big up to Jeff as well. And 100% spot on, Jeff. Listen, if we need the centre half, which we do at the minute, it's not a case of whether Brands likes to spend in January or whether he prefers to spend in the summer. If we need that player, then he's gonna go out and he's gonna have to buy that player. Still says Delph look like he compliments Gomez's game. Both of them look so smooth in the middle of the park. I agree. Wayne says Souness comments on Keane a disgrace. Spot on, mate. He's an absolute dickhead. Jeff says, let's be honest, Torreira would skin most left backs. End of the man's bullet. Yeah. Stoll says he gasses after half an hour though. And Chris says you should go in Europa League group stages straight away from 7th. None of this qualifying nonsense. I agree, mate. I agree. All this qualifying stuff is bullshit for me. It's absolutely shocking. All this starting to play your football in the middle of pre-season and all that. It's just a load of shite. If you're enjoying this team so far, please do leave a like. It means a massive amount to me. Anyway, like I said, moving on. Absolutely fantastic performance. Richarlison game winning again. We spoke about him before. Alex Iwobi as well, like we said. another fantastic performance by him, not just his goal, but his overall game as well, bringing other players into the game, using his body, using his strength, using his awareness as well, and I think he looks to be a really, really good sign. And just on Moise Kean, I want to talk about Moise Kean for a second, because obviously he didn't have his greatest game yesterday. I think he struggled yesterday. I think he struggled to settle into the game, to be honest with you. I thought he was marked out of a lot of it. He's going to have games like that as well. I think it's really, really positive to see that he's pushing himself, and that he's not happy with that performance yesterday, and that he wasn't coming off the pitch, absolutely made up to, to have played the way he did, because he could improve and he will improve. He's still a very, very young kid. He's still very new to this league. He's very new to this team, and he is going to settle in, and it's just about allowing him to settle in. Now, I think the more game time he gets, the better the quicker he'll settle in, and obviously the more he'll get used to this league, and he'll get used to obviously playing off the defender and getting around the fact that you're going to have 2 or 3 defenders around you, especially when you've got the quality that he has. But overall, I think he played decent yesterday. Listen, obviously he wasn't a standout player, and I think a lot of us seen him in the starting 11, and a lot of us were expecting a big star performance by him, a big unbelievable performance. But I think we have to understand that you're not going to get that from Moise Kean just yet, because he hasn't settled in. He's going to take time. He come out himself and said his goal is 7 goals this season, and I don't think that's him saying he's only going to score 7, or he's only capable of scoring 7. I think that's him being very, very mature, very, very responsible, and taking into consideration how long it's going to take for him to settle in, and how long it's going to take for him to really get going in the Premier League. And it takes players, professionals that have played at the highest level for years, time to settle into the Premier League, let alone a 19-year-old kid that's coming over from his home country. He's got to learn a new language. He's got to, obviously live a new lifestyle as well. So let's just have patience with Moise Kean. There's no point in talking about his performance in a negative way, because he will only get better. He will only improve. And at the end of the day, he got a decent little assist, and he was part of a front three that looked really, really exciting for me going forward. The number 7, Richarlison, number 17, Iwobi, and the number 27, Moise Kean, look like they can be a fantastic partnership of 7s going forward. Like I said, Gylfi Sigurdsson and Luca Dean providing 2 fantastic assists. Just to talk about Gylfi Sigurdsson for a second, he was a player that we spoke about in the first couple of weeks of the season, obviously at the back of the Palace game and the Watford game. Said that he wasn't having his greatest start. He seems to be coming into his own a little bit more now. You can see that he's gained a lot of confidence from that penalty against Lincoln. You can also see that obviously he seems a lot more comfortable on the ball. He's using the ball a lot more to his advantage, and he played really, really well, I thought, yesterday. Obviously a stunning cross in for Alex Iwobi, another really, really good assist, and again you can see that he's playing with confidence now. And when Gylfi Sigurdsson plays with confidence, he's an absolutely unbelievable footballer, and he's only going to gain confidence as well if he continues to put in balls like that and he continues to score goals. As with Luca Dean as well, like we mentioned before, wasn't his best defensive performance, but done really, really well going forward, and obviously provided the game-winning assist. In terms of Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well, obviously come off the bench yesterday, was dropped for Moise Kean. I think something that, I don't think any of us had an issue with, any of us had a problem with. Obviously, he come off the bench. Listen, I thought he'd done a job when he come off the bench, and I think this is what you get from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You get it whether he starts, you get it whether he comes off the bench. He's not necessarily a player that we know is going to score heaps of goals, because he's not a natural goal scorer. He's not got that awareness like Richarlison has, and that Moise Kean hopefully will have going forward. But he is a player that will work his absolute bollocks off. He was a player that will hold the ball up, and he was a player that will win the ball, and that's exactly what he done yesterday. And it was a fantastic substitution for me. Maybe it was a little bit too late by Marco Silva, could have done it around 10 minutes earlier, but it was a really, really good substitution to bring Dominic Calvert-Lewin on at that point in the game and say, right, listen, you just sit there and you just hold the ball up. You win any ball that goes in the air, and it gives Jordan Pickford the opportunity to sit there from goal kicks and go, I'm aiming at him, I'm going to hit him up there. And every time, I stick with this, every time the ball goes up to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he wins it. Whether he wins it and takes it down, whether he wins the header and heads it on, he wins the ball constantly. And sometimes that's what you need at the end of a game of football. You need somebody that's going to be up there to win and hold the ball up, and I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin does that really, really well. And I think in those situations he can be really, really beneficial to us, and he can be a massive part of our team going forward. Yes, you're going to get him starting games and you're going to get frustrated if he doesn't put the ball in the back of the net, but if you can have Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming off at the last 20 to 15 to 20 minutes of a game in that situation, where we're pushing for another goal or even winning the game, I think he plays a really, really important part, and I thought he done really, really well when he come on yesterday. He come on and done exactly what he was asked to do, hold the ball up, not do anything stupid and not give it away, and that's exactly what he done. So yeah, like I said, overall a really, really big win for Everton yesterday, a massive result in a big game. Like I said, a game that we could look back on at the end of the season, and it could be really, really significant against a team that, in my opinion, we're going to be fighting with for the top 6, top 7 come the end of the season. Obviously, you've got the likes of Leicester who are doing well at the minute. You've got the likes of West Ham as well, who people like to throw in there, but We haven't played either of them yet, so you can only beat what's in front of you, and you can only judge what's in front of you. And Wolves are a team that we knew last season were, obviously we're performing really, really well. Like I said, got the better of us at Goodison Park last season, but we've beaten them this season, and we've gone out and we're putting in another really, really good performance at a really, really good time as well. The boys will go away now for 2 weeks with their internationals. They'll leave their, play, like I said, or they'll stay back at Finch Farm. If they're staying back at Finch Farm, it'll give them time to, obviously gain a little bit of fitness. Jean-Philippe Gbamin, it'll give him time as well, another 2 weeks for him to get over his injury. And the lads that are going away with their international teams, it'll give them time to, get back to their international teammates and regroup and, like I said, get a little bit of refreshment. Before coming back, and obviously we play Bournemouth, and then we play the two Sheffield sides. We play United in the Premier League, and then we play Sheffield Wednesday a couple of days after in the Carabao Cup. So really, really big win. Obviously just before the international break, exactly what we needed. Fantastic performances by the likes of Fabian Delph, by the likes of Richarlison, by the likes of Alex Iwobi. Really, really positive, and it's a positive time to be an Evertonian at the minute, and that's exactly what we want, and that's exactly what we want to be saying, and that's exactly what we want to be sitting here thinking. And it just gives us the excitement going into coming out of the international break, and hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, everybody touch wood now. If there's no wood around you, touch your head, touch wood that there's absolutely no injuries, touch wood that we come out of this international break in a couple of weeks time, every single player is as fit as they were going into it, if not fitter. There's no injuries, no issues whatsoever, and we've got a full squad going into the Bournemouth game after that. Anyway, let's dive into live comments before we go. Where were we up to? Let's see. Lavivit says, as I look to the future, do you think Gomez could make a future captain? Who knows? Maybe. I definitely think Delph could make a future captain, definitely. But who knows? Maybe. Crip says, I just can't wait for Keane to get his first goal. He has a lot to learn, but he has a good attribute for a striker. We need to figure out how to play him in. Yeah, exactly. And again, we mentioned that after the Lincoln game. It's a lot about how his teammates around him utilise him, as well as how he utilises himself in a way. And like you've said there, once he gets his first goal, that'll give him that, a little bit of confidence to go on then. Ralph says, not a skipper Gomez for me, not yet anyway. Fair enough. Jeff says, Delph is the captain very soon for sure. Born leader by Christmas, I think. Very fair point, and very, very possible as well. He is a born leader. We've seen that obviously before the game, yesterday afternoon, and throughout the game as well. Not only does he lead by his mouth and by, bossing players about and telling them where to be, but he also leads by example as well, with an absolute top performance yesterday. Lavvid said, I thought Moise Keane was bullied and hacked out the game. He was hacked a lot of the time. That's another thing that I wanted to pick up, is Wolves were quite dirty yesterday, and again, not too sure what's going on over there, but it wasn't the type of Wolves performance that I expected. I expected good football along the ball, fast-flowing football, and they did do that at times in the game, but for the majority of the game, they were hacking up players up, they were dirty, they were long balling it, and again, not too sure whether that's just off the back of a game in the Europa League, and that's just a little bit of fatigue. But he was marked out the game yesterday, and that's going to happen. He's a young striker, and he's going to get times where he doesn't quite know where to go or what to do. But there's also going to be a lot of games where he sets it on fire. Crip says, yeah, Keane had 2 to 3 defenders around him at all times. Exactly, he did. Ralph says, Delph more like it for me. I agree. Yeah, spot on. Chris says, I'd say Delph should be the captain for Everton. He has the attributes. He 100% does. Jeff says, Keane just needs a goal to give him a penalty if we are winning well. Build his confidence. Maybe Marco Silva will look to do that. But yeah, he definitely does need a goal. Lavvid says, Wolves at times were a disgrace. I would start him next game, put that way. Yeah, I'd start Moise Keane as well. Again, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin's really, really beneficial coming off the bench, and I don't really see the point in, putting in Keane, taking him out, putting in him, taking him out. He's there now. Obviously, he's had one really, really good game against Lincoln and one okay game against Wolves. He'll go away now with Italy. Sorry, he'll play internationally, and then he'll come back and, hopefully he'll get a little bit more game time under his belt as well. Where are we? Wayne says, Wolves only signed Bolly because it rhymes with bully, and they think to make up new chants. All my mates and whole Wolves fans wearing the blue top, proud in town today, Wolves fans. I'm not going to say that word, but yeah, you go out there and you wear the blue top. I'm wearing it now, obviously. I've been in work today, so I couldn't wear it for work, but exactly, fantastic win for us yesterday. Wayne says, come on you Blues, Everton till I die. Neil Satterson's the optimum. Have a good week, Cam. Boss channel, keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Wayne. Thank you very much for that. Really, really do appreciate it, and thanks for all of your support as well. Jeff says, I second that, better than Toffee TV. Thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you very much. Lavvid says it would be interesting to see who people would like to see captain now. Yeah, it would. I think Keane's a really, really good shout, to be honest with you. Not Keane, sorry. I think Delph's a really, really good shout because you can see he is a natural leader. But you know, Seamus also started the season okay as well, so I don't think it'd be fair to take it off Seamus just yet, considering he was only just given it in the summer. Chris says most Arsenal fans were gutted to see Iwobi leave. They were, and you know, you could see that by just how well he started his Everton career. Obviously, he's a really, really good player, really, really talented footballer, and you can see he's playing now with a smile on his face, and you can see the type of performances we're getting out of that. Chris says, see you later, guys. Have to go. Take care, everyone. Great team as always, and great channel. Thank you very much, Chris, and thanks for getting involved once again. Take care, and I hope to see you soon. See you very soon. Dodgebrick says, Kenny turning up at Schalke. Yeah, he is. Scored a fantastic goal the other night for Schalke. Really, really good finish, and again, that's another positive coming off the back of the summer. Obviously, we've loaned John Joe Kenny out to Schalke. German league, of course, really, really competitive. He's going to get a lot of game time there. A lot of their fans on social media wanting to make that deal permanent. And obviously, we've gotten a right back in on loan into eBay that we can make permanent at the end of it, but we don't necessarily have to. So, really, really good options there. And obviously, it's fantastic to see Kenny turning it up in the German league. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It means a massive amount to me. I'm not too sure how many likes are on because I haven't got the new system up. So, if we're not on 10, let's see if we can hit 10 before the end of today's stream. If we're on over 10, thank you very, very much. Please do subscribe as well if you're new and if you're enjoying the channel. We're so close to 800 subscribers now. If you've subscribed already, please do share the video, share the channel to your friends, share the channel to your family, spread the word. Don't forget to join us on Wednesday for another live stream. We're going to be sitting down, we're going to be talking a little bit more about some Everton general news. Obviously, we'll be talking about some transfers as well, in terms of where the future for the likes of Yannick Bolasie is, depending on whether he leaves the club by tonight. And we'll just talk genuinely about Everton. A little bit of a chilled one on Wednesday, time to sit down, have a nice conversation, and just talk positively about our absolutely boss football club. Obviously, now that we've got a couple of weeks without games, the content will still keep flowing, of course. The content will still be there. We'll still have at least 3 streams a week, maybe even 4 or 5, who knows. So don't forget to, you know, keep watching the video, keep watching the streams, like if you're enjoying, and stay subscribed as well. And if you're not subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. Lav says, pardon me for asking this, but is the third kit black or very dark blue? Good point, actually. I think it's very dark blue with a lighter blue badge. I could be wrong, but I think it is. It's really, really classy for me. It's really, really smart, and I absolutely love it, and I'll definitely be purchasing that very, very soon. But anyway, thank you all very, very much for watching. Thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments as per usual. If you're watching as a YouTube video, please do leave your comments in the comment section down below, and I'll be replying to those as well. Massive win for the Blues yesterday. Massive win going into the international break against the side that, you know, we were looking at the start of the season and thinking they're realistically going to be one of our main rivals this season in terms of league position. So fantastic win, fantastic performance. Bossed by Richarlison, bossed by Iwobi, bossed by Delph, bossed by Keane, bossed by Mina, bossed by Michael Keane, bossed by Dean, just bossed by everyone with it. Just boss. Marco Silva's boss, Marcel Brands is boss, the fans are boss, the Siren's boss, Everton are just boss. And that's going to do it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.